In November 1977, a daring experiment took place at London's Astoria in the West End, an event that would shake up the world of music theater and pay homage to a legend. The show was a tribute to Elvis Presley, and it was called simply Elvis. What made this production remarkable was its cast of 3 actors playing the iconic star at different stages of his life. Tim Whitnall took on the role of the youthful Elvis, Shakin' Stevens played the Elvis of the late 50s and early 60s, and PJ Proby embodied the later, more mature Elvis. It was a bold move, but it worked. Audiences were captivated, and the show won the Best Musical of the Year award at the Evening Standard Drama Awards. Tickets ranged from just £1.50 to £5.50, making it accessible to a wide audience. Tim Whitnall, fresh out of school and with no prior theater experience, landed the role of young Elvis. He remembers the whirlwind start to his career vividly. "I'd never been to London, never been on a stage. I went from singing Hound Dog in 6th form to performing on a London stage on Monday," he recalled. It was a surreal experience, one that he embraced without overthinking it. However, not everyone was pleased with this tribute. Alvin Stardust, known for his rockabilly hits, initially rejected the idea of playing Elvis in a tribute show. To him, it felt disrespectful, like cashing in on Elvis's legacy too soon after his death. But even he admitted that when he finally saw Tim Whitnall perform, it was almost as if Elvis himself was on stage. The power of Whitnall's performance was undeniable. Director Jack Good, the mastermind behind the show, defended the concept, arguing that rock and roll was all about vulgarity and raw energy. He believed Elvis, even in death, would approve of the tribute. PJ Proby's performance as the older Elvis was particularly praised, though he later expressed some resentment over the production's success. Tim Whitnall faced his own challenges, especially when it came to sharing the spotlight with Proby. There were moments of tension backstage, like during a busy matinee where Proby refused to perform, leaving Whitnall to carry the show alone. Despite these setbacks, the production propelled Shakin' Stevens into stardom. His renditions of old Elvis hits like The Green Door and This Ol' House were so compelling that they helped revive interest in the music of the 1950s. Meanwhile, attempts to capture Elvis's story through film were less successful. The 1979 movie Elvis the Movie, directed by John Carpenter, was a flop, criticized for its amateurish approach and over-the-top performances. A more comprehensive documentary, This Is Elvis, released in 1981, did a better job by weaving together TV clips, newsreels, and home movies, offering a more intimate look at the King's life. Despite these cinematic missteps, theater continued to explore Elvis's legacy. In 1985, Alan Bleastill's play Are You Lonesome Tonight? Opened in Liverpool, offering a darker, more introspective look at Elvis's later years. The play, which won the Evening Standard Drama Award for Best Musical, was praised for its humor and powerful performances, particularly by Simon Bowman as the middle-aged Elvis. As the years went on, Elvis's influence on theater and pop culture remained strong. In 2003, Simon Bowman returned to the role in This Is Elvis, Viva Las Vegas, a touring production that continued to celebrate the King's enduring legacy. The tribute to Elvis Presley showed no signs of fading, proving that his impact on music and culture was timeless. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, has left an enormous mark on music and culture. Even after he passed away, his influence continues in surprising ways. Let's explore how Elvis keeps making waves in the world of music, beyond what the real Elvis could have experienced. After Elvis died in 1977, people started creating music that featured him in ways he could never have imagined. This phenomenon is often called Dead Elvis. Some artists recorded songs with Elvis' voice from old recordings, matching it with new music. It's like having a conversation with someone who's not really there but seems very real. One funny case happened in 1978. A record label released a song called Don't Cry for Christmas by a group called. Many people thought Elvis was singing on it, but it was actually Jimmy Ellis, an Elvis impersonator who didn't really look like Elvis. The The trick worked though, and people bought the record thinking it was the real king. Artists have also teamed up with Elvis in creative ways. Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis' daughter, sang with her father's voice on songs like Don't Cry, Daddy and In the Ghetto. These duets were powerful, especially when she sang In the Ghetto with tears, making a statement about gun control. It's interesting to think that Elvis, who wouldn't have agreed with such messages, is now used to speak about them. Christmas is another time when Elvis' spirit seems to come alive in music. Many artists have recorded Christmas albums featuring Elvis. For example, in 2008, a special album called Christmas Duets had female country singers duetting with Elvis. It was cleverly made to look like Elvis was singing alongside them, even though it was all recorded separately. The song Blue Christmas with Martina McBride was especially memorable, making it seem like Elvis was right there with her. Other artists have also brought Elvis into their music. Celine Dion recorded If I Can Dream with Elvis' voice, and it became a big hit. In 2013, Susan Boyle, known for her talent show appearance, sang a Christmas duet with Elvis on an album. She was joined by Johnny Mathis, a seasoned singer, making it feel like a special moment with the king himself. Even classic hits have been given new life with Elvis. In 2011, Cliff Richard, a British singer who's been around for a long time, recorded a duet with a recording of Elvis from 1956. They sang Blue Suede Shoes, and while it was clever, it was tricky to listen to because you could hear where the new parts were added. It would have worked better if they chose a slower song like a ballad to match Cliff's age and Elvis' youthful voice. Elvis' old recordings have also been mixed with new sounds. In 1981, an album called Guitar Man took Elvis songs from the late 60s and gave them new, contemporary guitar parts. It didn't quite work, making the songs sound messy, but it still sold well. Since then, many of Elvis' songs have been remixed or given new backing tracks. Sometimes, it's hard to tell if you're listening to the original or a new version. These creative uses of Elvis' voice raise questions about what's real and what isn't. For fans who just want to enjoy Elvis music, it can be confusing. They might not care if it's the real voice or not, as long as they can feel the magic of his songs. However, it does make the experience of listening to Elvis ever-changing and sometimes surprising. In the end, Elvis Presley's legacy continues to grow in unexpected ways. Whether through duets, Christmas albums, or modern remixes, his voice keeps reaching new generations. It's as if Elvis is not just a figure from the past, but a living part of music history, always finding new ways to connect with people around the world. Elvis Presley's legacy lives on in amazing ways. Let's explore some of these through the lens of how his music and image have been reused and celebrated over the years. In the 1980s, a fun project brought together 6 of Elvis's biggest hits into one song. This was a playful nod to another hit-making trick called the Hooked On series. But instead of using the real recordings, they asked an actor who looked like Elvis to sing, since the real recordings weren't allowed to be used. This created a single that topped the charts, showing just how beloved Elvis was. In 1995, something interesting happened. A recording of Elvis singing a song from 1974 was released as new. It was marketed as a surprise find, but it was just a clever re-release. This showed how clever record companies could be in bringing back old magic. Then in 2001, a famous movie, Ocean's 11, used a new take of Elvis's song, A Little Less Conversation. This caught the attention of Nike, who wanted to use it for ads during the World Cup. To make it fit, a Dutch DJ named JXL gave it a modern dance feel. Despite some initial hesitation from Elvis's estate, this remix became a huge success, reaching the top of the charts and even helping Elvis surpass the Beatles in chart history. Every 5 years, Elvis's music keeps coming back to the charts in new ways. In 2005, to celebrate his 70th birthday, his old UK singles were released in order, week by week. People loved this throwback, though one critic didn't understand why, saying Elvis didn't deserve all the fuss, but fans knew better. Elvis's influence is so big that even critics who didn't get it back then would likely agree now. In 2007, another set of Elvis's hits was released, showcasing his greatest songs outside of his UK number ones. Again, the public showed their love, with even older songs finding new fans. A special case was My Baby Left Me, released by a company that specializes in re-releasing very old music without needing permission, thanks to it being out of copyright. In 2017, Elvis's calendars outsold those of contemporary stars in the UK. This was mostly thanks to older fans, but it showed Elvis still had a strong following even among younger people. Elvis also toured around the world after his death, thanks to advanced technology. In these shows, film of Elvis was paired with live music and performances by real musicians. It was so convincing that audiences would cheer as if Elvis himself were there. This innovative approach kept his spirit alive and entertained millions. A musician named Carl Perkins once said that Elvis will never truly go away because his impact on music and performance is timeless. People admire how Elvis moved with a natural grace that expressed the music deeply. Even without him physically present, his influence continues to inspire and move people.